I have a silly question. Where's Bill? Oh, there he is in California, I guess. The president endorsing a slate of Democratic congressional candidates in a rally at UC Irvine. This was a Tuesday night. But after the convention, maybe I'm missing something here. Everybody agreed, not only gave the best speech in Charlotte here, he gave the most convincing argument, better than Obama did, for the first 4 years of Obama, what he inherited and what he had to deal with. And I always thought, okay, now he's going to let the big dog go here. Darren, help me out.
No, he's still campaigning.
Where has he been?
He's out there fighting for Barack Obama. Last week, he was out in Ohio. He did literally rocking the vote. He did a huge rally with Bruce Springsteen. They're doing early vote in Ohio. He's firing up the crowds, and he's telling them to go vote early.
Would you have expected he would have had a more visible presence than he's had since Charlotte? I know he was in Ohio with Bruce, okay? But other than that,
and he's been fundraising. He's been fundraising for candidates. He's been helping candidate committees. He's been out in California. He's working it. He's doing well.
If I was Obama, I'd have him attached to me. No more than 5 feet wherever I go.
But he can't do it every day. I mean, the president can't be out there every day.
One time in Ohio.
He'll be back out there. I mean,
time's running out.
Yeah, but he can't do it every day.
We all remember how Al Gore wanted to be his own. He wanted to be his own guy. He was a big boy here.
Biggest
mistake.
I mean,
couldn't carry Tennessee, couldn't carry Arkansas. If he just let the president go in the Southeast, we would have had a different outcome in 2000 here. But I don't know. Tell me, from a Republican perspective, the farther Obama and Clinton are from each other, the better for you guys, right?
Listen, I mean, Bill Clinton's a rock star. There's no question about it. And I think that, they ran over his wife with the bus on the Benghazi situation. I think that Bill Clinton is much like me. He doesn't forget in politics. And I think if you go back to the last election, they ran over his wife with another bus.
But he still turned out and he did more than he had to in Charlotte.
You know what? Listen, I think he has to do something. He's the former standard bearer of the party. I think he's looking ahead 4 years for his wife running, so there's certain things he's got to do with the committee people, et cetera. But there's no doubt in my mind. I believe this with every ounce of my being. When he goes in there and pulls that lever, he is not pulling it for Barack Obama. And I believe that. And I believe that. He may not pull for Mitt Romney, but I believe that he goes back 4 years.
I would pay per view that. I would pay per view.
4 years ago, he does not forget to raise comments about his wife.
2 days ago, Bill Clinton was in Rochester, New York, where thousands and thousands of people lined up to see him. He was campaigning for Louise Slaughter and for Kathy Hochul here in the state of New York. Two key races. They want the president to go into these states. He says he's not available. He's focused on Ohio and the swing states. They send Bill Clinton in.
Yeah.
He's helping to win back the House. He's hoping to, helping to hold the Senate.
With all due respect, and those are key House races. Yeah. I'm the president. I'm worried about my job. Okay, I'm not as worried about some of the House seats here because down ticket's going to have consequences if it goes
when you're looking nationally, it's nice to have the president who's got your back.
He's the best. He can't be every day.
Now I got a question for these two, and also I want your perspective on the underside of it. Ground game. Everyone I hear, and I talked about this last night, maybe they're full of it, but for a year I've been hearing from Democrats that they knew they were going to have a shortage of enthusiasm comparable to 4 years ago. So they were going to invest their money in ground game so that the turnout was going to be big on November 6th. And they say it's a real machine and it's better than the Republicans. Is that smoke or is that real?
No, it's real. It's real. In Ohio, the Democratic Party has been on the ground organizing for 18 months. We're seeing the results now. More early vote than ever before. The early vote is going to decide this election. I'm telling you. That's why you saw Michelle Obama voted early for the first time, a first lady in history. And Barack Obama is voting, I think, tomorrow. And it'll be the first time in history a president didn't vote on Election Day. He's voting early to send a message to everyone to vote early and get it out of the way.
In a nonpartisan way, Tom, explain ground game, how it works for the uninitiated at home. What is, as the campaign's figuring out, okay, messaging and all that, but I got to get them to vote. What do they do?
Well, I mean, first of all, they go down to the precinct level, whether it's an election district like in New York, for instance. They'll go down to the ED level. They'll look at past turnout numbers. They'll look at the past actual vote, and they will go in and figure out that, like in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, we need X amount of Republicans to get out and vote. And everything that you need to do, whether it's phone calls, knocking on doors, mail, TV, et cetera, everything is geared to drawing out that number of votes that you need to win that particular county.
Now, is part of the budget and part of the staff their only job turnout?
Absolutely. I mean, in fact, where the money really comes from is the National Committee. And that's one of the resources the Republican National Committee has a big edge on, because the Democrats recently had to go take out a loan because the National Committee did not have a lot of money. But Darren's absolutely right. I mean, both parties for the last year. But I'll tell you, one of the areas that, gives me a lot of hope, and one of the recent numbers was Wisconsin, which is really not a place where we expected Romney to do well. up one. I think a very close election there. If you look at the Walker race there, it shows you the turnout machine that the Republicans have ready to go in a place like Wisconsin that we weren't expected to do well in. And I think we'll win.
Is turnout driven on the state level by the state party folks, or is it that the team for the candidate decides how they're going to manage turnout?
I think Darren will tell you that a lot of that is driven by the national organization working with the local organization, but really it's the national people who are telling them what needs to be done.
Give me
I
the
think that's
underside
true.
of it, Dominic.
It's true.
We've heard often that the money exchanges hands here, the buses line up, they get a few bucks to get in there to get to the polls. How real is that? How big a part of that is that?
When you say the underside, you mean the gimmicks?
dirty part of
the
the get out
dirty
the
part in terms of trying to persuade people not to vote?
No,
Or?
well, more getting them to vote. In terms of the turnout here, some of the stuff that we always hear about, but how real is that?
Extremely real. I'll leave out certain names of up top Democrats, but there are certain Democrats where the party will go, here's $3 million, get out the vote money.
See Democrats.
Republicans as well.
No, I have to be honest with you. I have never seen, in any campaign that I've been worked on, I've never seen, except for one that I knew about in West Virginia when I was in school, Arch Moore, who's a Republican in West Virginia. I heard stories about people handing out bottles of booze, cases of booze. I've never in my life in New York heard of a Republican, here's $50,000, go take care of this. I know. I mean,
and the last thing is, then there's the other part where there's the intimidation not to vote or to make it really hard for him to vote.
And that's well, his party is good with that. He said not intimidating people not to vote.
Or changing laws to
we're going to
discourage
change
people
the
from voting.
laws to protect the system. But no, what happens really, and it's really scary, sometimes each parties will hire off-duty police officers that will stand outside the polling stations and wave badges, and just that alone can intimidate people.
That's just not.
Well, actually,
but it happens.
Here in New York, we have an entire organization. We actually have an organization called the New York Democratic Lawyers Council, which they spend 2 years organizing lawyers who are going to volunteer their time on election day, be trained in electoral laws. Yep, and then we're able to send out attorneys to whenever there's hotlines you call
Just think, election night, if you had any doubts here, thousands of lawyers fanning across America.
They're already in Ohio.
Exactly.
They're already there.
And I'm sure in Florida as well, absolutely.
You take them out of Florida because you ain't winning Florida. So.
All right. We'll do that in the break here. And after the break here, we're going to talk about one of the most important yet overlooked issues of the campaign, the Supreme Court here. Trust me, no matter what, whoever wins here will shape this country in ways that I don't think many of you have really thought about. The next 4 years here, there very well could be one, if not more, vacancies in the high court, and that could be the biggest legacy the next president will have. Stay with us.